See it, G code. There it is. It's another Hot 99-ish brought to you by Phone Sites. You can build a landing page or website in 5 minutes or less. And that's once you get really proficient. We ain't gonna lie, but the tech is really easy. If you've ever used the other softwares, you know exactly who we're talking about. It's a lot easier. So drag and drop, you can get an offer.
ClickFunnels.
Yeah.
Right? ClickFunnels?
Yeah, ClickFunnels. Yeah, that's what it is. They sell you the product and then take your shit. So, yeah. Anyways, yeah, you can go tell them, go run and tell that. So, tonight's guest on the Hot 99-ish, she's no stranger to the Apex Entourage crew or Apex Executive crew, and Tom Keenan is our newest addition as COO at Break Free Academy. So, welcome, Tom Keenan. What's up?
Yes, sir. You know, man, every time I'm in front of you, first off, thank you so much for the warm welcome. I appreciate it. But every time I'm in front of you, you're trying to get me to dance. And I keep telling you, dude, I don't dance unless there is a significant amount of alcohol consumption. And, you know, following the G code, the alcohol consumption just isn't what it used to be, man.
Well, you know, since you don't dance, I'll tell you this, like if you never had a drink with Tom, like Tom will either dance, which he doesn't do, or he'll tell you the truth. And I remember a moment that we had at Concrete Cowboy when I first got to know you. And we were talking about, we'd been friends on Facebook for a little bit, but I'd ask you a question like, Tom, like what keeps you up at night? Like, you know, because people have this impression that, you know, being an entrepreneur is easy, that running a business is easy, being an owner is easy, that you're loaded, you got tons of cash and your life is made and you don't even have to show up or anything, right?
Yeah.
But you said something to me that was pretty profound, and it had to do with the 20 people that worked for you. So I want to kind of start off there, kind of lay the foundation of, you know, like your
Sure.
thought behind everything that you do.
Yeah, man. I remember the exact evening, and I believe that there was heavy alcohol consumption following this conversation, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
But you know, as a business owner, as a leader, one of the things that you do when you grow and scale your team or your company is hire a team. You bring people on, and I think a lot of business owners fail. And they don't recognize this immediately, or maybe it takes them going through some shit to finally figure it out. That's pretty much how it happened for me. But the moment you hire someone and bring them onto your team, that person is now your responsibility. That person's well-being, financially, you know, culture fit within your company, all that is your responsibility. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. On top of that, you're also now responsible for that person's spouse if they have one, that person's kids if they have one. If that person has mom or dad who's aging and needs care and lives with that person, you're responsible for it. You're responsible for that person paying their mortgage each and every month. You're responsible for any other financial stuff that person's got involved. I'm not saying you have to go pay their bills. The point I'm trying to make here is you do whatever the fuck it is that you need to do to ensure that your payroll is submitted on time so that person can go ahead and take care of their obligations. So if you had a shitty week, a shitty month, a shitty quarter, too bad. You hired that person. It is your duty, obligation, and responsibility as a leader within your company to hold up your end of the bargain and pay them. And, you know, when you and I were having that conversation, it was a tough spot that I was going through in my company that really made this realization and like, you know, this growth breakthrough come through in me. And we had a large vendor who we actually wound up firing as a customer, very, very large provider, big name, multi-billion-dollar international company. I'm going to leave it at that. Those of you who know me know exactly who this company is. And they just decided to stop paying my small business at the time for the subcontracting work that we were doing. And they were anywhere from 90 to 120 days past due on invoices. Like they owed us over $130,000 at one point. And as a small business owner, and I have a team of, at the time I had a team of almost 20 people who were working for me, you know, that responsibility falls on me. So here I am. You ask us to come and do work for you. We're showing up. We're putting our best foot forward. We're showing up. We're doing the work. And now what should be a 30-day term to get that money back into my, you know, my business is now 60, 90, 120 days. And I still have the responsibility of the people who are beneath me. And I don't say beneath me in a bad way or a put down way. Like, this is my team. Like, I am responsible for these people. Just because you decide not to pay me does not allow me to get rid of that responsibility.
Yeah, there's no easy way out in business. There's no easy way out in life, and
Mhm.
it can be stressful sometimes. I'm surprised you still have your hair. So, quite
Well,
honestly.
luckily I'm tall and most people can't see the balding that is going on, but it is there.
It's awesome. Yeah, we're all hitting that age where it's like, oh, well, you might need to plant some seeds over there. So I'm getting there too. I was like, I looked down the other day. I was like, I'm gonna need a comb over soon.
Yeah.
So it's awesome though. I love it. So and Tom, you're kind of like in terms of family and everything. You're in a different situation. You have young children yet. So
Yeah.
that's you guys. After we had that conversation, I was like, man, I really like Tom, and that's what really started that journey where, like when you understand that philosophy and core value about somebody, get that insight, like that one story just told me a lot of what I needed to know about you. And I thought, man, that's crazy. Like, what kind of human being would take that on? Granted,
Mhm.
there are financial rewards, but there's a lot of risk that gets leveraged. But let's
Yeah.
take it back to, why you do what you do.
Yeah, man. I put my family first. I always have. And it started when my first daughter was born. Actually, my wife came to me and says, "Hey, guess what? I'm finally pregnant." And we were trying for quite some time. That was that was the life altering event that triggered me to basically get my head out of my ass. And I was 35 years old when it happened. So I wasn't a young buck by no means. I had, owned one business, burned it to the ground, started a second business, and was 5 years into the ownership and the operations of that business when I decided to actually become an adult. And it was from that point forth, that life altering event was the trigger. It hit the start button for me to go start working on me to become the best version of myself. And that's when real things started to happen. And that's when I started to get ultra clear. That's when I started to read and learn about core values and how important it is, and start crafting mission statements and implementing the vision, not only in my personal life, but in my businesses. And that's when things started to get good, when I became intentional. And that intentionality all circles around, my purpose, which is to make my kids the best version of themselves, to give them the opportunities that I was not awarded. And I did not grow up poor like a lot of people have. I grew up very middle class. I never missed a meal, as you can probably tell. I always had clothing. Like my mom, she was a single mom. My parents divorced when I was 4. My mom busted her ass and she did whatever she needed to do to make sure that I didn't go through shit like she did when she was younger. So, I'm really grateful for those experiences. And that's, I think, a lot of how you're brought up and the things that you go through, whether good or bad, actually, not think, I mean, they craft you into the person you are today.
Yeah,
So,
I agree wholeheartedly with that. And I love that because you explained your why. It's
yeah.
and your objective too. Most people are like, yeah, it's really tough, but it's like, I think sometimes we raise the bar a little bit higher than what we need to in terms of like, what did you really have? You have to be objective. Was it
Mhm.
challenging, but did you have everything you need, and needed? And that's you've already broke that cycle. Obviously, mom was working for other companies, right? She was an
Yeah.
employee. Is that correct?
Yeah,
So
my mom was a corporate sales exec for National Car Rental for a number of years, and she was a flat out closer,
was she?
which is cool. Yeah, she was in charge of enterprise accounts, and she would go in and basically close big corporate America, other businesses, and to say, hey, we're going to put a package together for you. So whenever your employees travel in this company that's got 500, 1,500, 10,000 employees, whenever your employees travel, you're going to use National Car Rental, and special discount codes, that kind of thing. So she would sell the corporation. She'd be in there with the C-suite execs, say, hey, here's this package for the year, and this is what we can do for you. And she kicked ass in it. She was really good. And the economy turned pretty bad at one point, and I think it was the late 80s, early 90s. And she was part of the chopping block, and they basically said, hey, hate to break it to you, but we're making cuts around here, and you didn't make it. And it devastated her for a long time. And she never went back to corporate America after that. And at the time I was a teenager and, started to do my thing. And she just, small business has been part of my family, especially on my mom's side, for generations at this point. And she went in and basically helped some friends in their small businesses, started her own with my aunt and my uncle that actually wound up flopping relatively quickly. But even though that business failed, it gave me the insight as a young kid to say, oh shit, you can actually start your own business. So that stuff was starting to get ingrained in me at a very young age. because I was seeing family members who I respected and loved and looked up to, who were coming together as one unit and starting a business. Like I said, unfortunately, it didn't work out for them, but it showed me the potential and the possibility that could be there.
Yeah, so let's talk about your earlier career too, because that's a huge jump. Most people don't know that, and it's like you see it, but there's still that training and that, like you said, you get ingrained in certain things. And
Mhm.
over here we have our family and what they
Yep.
do, and then we've got the government. We have laws that have been implemented where before COVID and everything, it was like you have to be at school, and if not, you're going to get popped with truancy, and you
Yeah.
can go to jail, and they threaten people, all the bureaucratic bullshit that
Mhm.
people come up with to make money and penalize people. So, where was the gap? Like, what made you make that jump into entrepreneurship?
So again, seeing the entrepreneurship in my family as a kid was always inspiring to me, and I always knew that I wanted my own business. I had my mother's two brothers. Actually, every one of my mom's siblings. My mom's one of five. Okay, every one of her siblings at one point in time or another owned a small business or still does to this day. None of them were like rock star successful with it. They were a small business owner. So that again, that showed me a lot of what was possible. But my mom's two brothers were in the automotive industry. And as I was a kid growing up, becoming, 14, 15, 16, about to get a license, I started to get into cars more and more. Plus, every time I went over either of my uncle's homes, they had cars everywhere. Some of them were cool cars that they were working on, or a project, so I had one uncle who had owned an auto body shop, and I had one uncle who had a auto mechanic and a used car dealership. So I got to see, these two different sides of the automotive industry. And my mom, as I became older, would say, "Hey, dude, I got to go out and make money and support the household here. And you're getting to that age where I just don't trust you being home alone. So you're going to go with your uncle for the next 2 months, go over the summer." And she would send me out to Eastern Long Island, where I grew up. And she'd be like, "Hey, you're going to be with Uncle Ben for, the next 30 days. And I was like, cool, because I actually liked it. And the dude he would beat me down, and not in a bad way. He would just work my balls off. And it ingrained, going back to it ingrained that work ethic in me at a very early age to show me, hey, this is what you do. But, like anything else, it's a double-edged sword. So I got to see how you work hard and what to do. But the way that he was working, he was trading time for money. And you and I both know that if you want to become truly successful, you can't trade time for money, because time is finite. There's only so much of it in a day. You have to get to a point where you put your money to work for you. So even when you're sleeping, even you and I on this call right now, we got money working in the background here, and it's still doing something for us, even if it's at a small level right now. But you got to get out of that trading time for money phase. And it's important, and it's difficult to do, especially when those who you surround yourself with are like, no, get to work, go do this right now. No, not somebody else, you do it. And that works only for so long in small business ownership. You're only going to get the business so far if you're using that methodology and that model.
Yeah, there's so many distractions too, and you and I have talked about that too, and it goes deep. I recently relocated to Houston, and relocations and adjustments. I went from living in a very quiet, isolated apartment. I was surrounded by people, but I was in control of my environment. So, being with family, there's a dog, there's chickens, there's family, there's other family members, there's brother's girlfriend and children, and I have my own. So, it's hard to keep yourself insulated in that. And then parents calling, "Hey, you want to go meet us for this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, not really. Like I'm not really a going out kind of person, right? Because I'm focused on getting out of that place where many people get tangled up, and that's in distraction land. So how do you fight your distractions or battle against those? I know we talk about force of average and things like that, but what helps keep you focused?
Dude, the only thing for me is checklists and living and dying by my calendar. It's all stuff that we preach over here at BFA. And it's the kind of thing where, we don't just preach it, we actually live by it. Like, you and I had a conversation, 2 or 3 days ago. You're like, "Hey man, I need you to come in and do a video with me, a hot 9 at 9. All right, cool. And then we started going back and forth like, all right, well, what do you have available on your calendar? Because that's how we operate.
Mhm.
You know, I respect your time, you respect mine, and we had to work and find an opening that worked well for both of us. And when 8:50 this morning hit, I got an alert that popped up and said, dude, here's your reminder at 9 o'clock. You got a call with Danny. So guess what? The calendar's the boss. The calendar's the boss of the boss of the boss. Like the calendar is the fucking boss. Okay. I don't care who your boss is at work. The calendar's your fucking boss, because your calendar should be your personal life, should be going into the G code here. It should be, you know, your gratitude in the morning, should be your genetics. Anything that is fucking important to you should be on that calendar. And if it's not on the calendar, it's really not that important. So when the calendar tells me, hey, Tom, you got to roll Hot 9 at 9 with Danny. Well, okay, here we are. And nothing else is going to distract me right now, because I respect my time. I also respect yours. Okay. I'm also putting the energy out into the universe. Okay. Because if you don't respect your time, people are not going to respect it back. It's one thing I had to learn the hard way. But we got on this call here, and the first couple things that I was doing as we popped onto this call, I'm shutting down my phone, do not disturb. I set my computer, do not disturb. So nothing's going to come in here and distract me. The doors here in my home office are closed. My wife knows, hey, and I spend some time here in the home office, and the other time is at Break Free Academy office. But my wife knows, and the same thing, you know, the rule inside the office, if the door is closed, you don't even fucking knock on it.
Nope.
You don't go near that door. Don't even think about it, because that person is super focused, or they're shooting a live video like this, and don't fucking disturb them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Yeah. And that's the thing, you know, I think the sooner you can get that dialed in, like Tom was just saying, you know, get on your calendar, manage your expectations up front, say, I love you, but this is what I need from you. If you love me, then, you know, this is how I need you to respect my time, because this is what I'm trying to accomplish. And all this ties together. It ties to your productivity. You know, if you're not living in the house you want to live in, or if you're not, you know, doing the things that you want to do, or have that freedom and flexibility, you can't get there if you don't put in the work. And the calendar is the pinnacle of that. That's where everything starts. The number 100%. Of things that you can fit in that time, that's going to be the results of your labor. So
well, let's simplify it even further. Okay. You have two choices. You can either be reactive or you can be proactive. And I spent the first 37 years of my life living in a reactionary state, and I only got so far. The moment that I made the intentional switch, the intentional choice to live a proactive lifestyle, is when the world exploded around me, and good things, positivity, great people like you coming into my life. You know, amazing things happening, not just in my personal life, but in my professional career. I write a book. I become a #1 best-selling author. I start speaking on stage in front of thousands of people. I get offers from dudes like Ryan Stewman to come in and be the COO of, you know, one of the biggest and best coaching and mastermind programs on the planet. It's all because I decided to get proactive, which is another word for intentional.
I love it, man. I love it. And that's, you know, it sounds like the beginning of a gratitude list. So let's hit the G code. Let's go into that. Let's talk about, you know, gratitude, number one.
So listen, the G code is one of those things that really changed my life, you know, and I guess it was about a year ago, Danny, maybe a year and a half ago, the G code app actually came out, and we kind of, since we're in the ecosystem, we got like the beta test user of it first. But in actuality, Ryan's been preaching the G code to us for a much longer time than that, probably a good 2 years or so. And I was actually doing everything inside of an Evernote. Every morning I wake up, I would copy the Evernote, and I would just like refill the template. And when I got intentional again, okay, because this is the first thing I do every morning. I wake up, okay, I grab my phone. I know a lot of people can be like, oh, don't grab the phone first thing in the morning. No. I grab my phone because I fucking despise paper. I'm not a paper dude. Okay. I grab the phone, I open up the G code app, and I write down 5 things that I'm grateful for. And they could be 5 people. They could be 5 things, like little tiny things in your life. It could be 5 opportunities. Sometimes they're a long-winded sentence. Sometimes it's just my wife's name. Sometimes it's one of my kids' names, or all of them. But I write down these 5 things that I'm grateful for, and it forces me to start my day with a grateful mindset. Once I'm done with that gratitude list of 5 things or more, I put that phone down and I begin the morning routine. And my morning routine is basically getting to the bathroom, clean up a bit, brush my teeth, get the workout gear on, and then I head right into the Fitness Ninja spot, Mr. Mark Zalmanoff. And that dude beat me up today, man.
Let's talk a little bit about that too, because I don't think people realize that. Like when you go, hey, I was a fat bastard, people don't realize that. You got pictures, I got pictures. Your pictures are like, holy shit. Like you made Jared from Subway look like, like a fucking lightweight.
I fucking love you and hate you at the same time.
I know. No, but listen, man, listen, because I saw a picture of myself in a hula skirt when I was DJing at a wedding, and I thought I had positive self-image and everything. But I was looking over going, holy shit, I got Dunlap syndrome. The belly had Dunlapped over the belt.
Yes, sir.
And didn't realize how miserable I was, right? Yeah. So like at what peak, like what was the pinnacle of where you were weight-wise and health-wise? What was happening?
Yeah. So listen, man, I was always that kid who grew up and my mom took me shopping in the Husky section. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I've always just been a big kid. Just to be completely transparent, my mom never really took care of herself. She never ate properly, and it caused her to get overweight as time went on. And that's just a compounding effect. So, when I remember seeing pictures of my mom when she's my age now, she wasn't that heavy, but since she did nothing to be proactive, it compounded, and year over year, started adding more and more weight on, less and less physical activity. And, now she's almost 70 years old. What do you think is going to happen? Right. So that taught me like, okay, I don't want that in my life. But I kind of seesawed my whole life with ups and downs of weight. When I was younger, it was super easy to lose weight. I'd go into the summer season and going back to my first career as a car audio installer, which we started to talk about before, working in the hot shop and just physical labor, blue collar work, working with my hands, dude, the summertime would hit and I would drop 15, 20 pounds like clockwork. Come full circle to the fall in New York, it's cold, or colder than here in Texas, and I would start putting the winter weight back on, and it would just be the cycle. And as I got older, that cycle started to slow down.
Yeah, as it does.
So, yeah, the summer would hit, and I was like, oh shit, I used to lose 10 pounds in the first week of summer, and now I'm not losing anything. But come fast forward to fall, I'm still putting on the 10-pound winter weight. And it came to a point I just couldn't get rid of it. I thought I couldn't, self-limiting belief. But the real, so we'll go back 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, I started following the G code, and I said, okay, I need to start working out. I need to start feeling better. I didn't feel good in my body. So I start working out. I hire a trainer in New York, and I start hitting the weights with her 3 to 5 days a week. And my body started to take a better shape physically, but I was still drinking beer like a fish and eating whatever the hell I wanted. So I still had, I was still fat, but I was strong fat. I was big boned, yeah. So COVID hits, and this whole fuckery, whatever is going on there with this crap. And I basically said, all right, dude, I got 2 choices. I can be average and keep doing what I'm doing here, which is basically sitting here on the couch and eating sleeves of Oreos at a time, not just like 2 or 3, but like the whole fucking sleeve.
They're good.
Oh, they're delicious. They're amazing.
Girl Scout cookies too, Thin Mints all day.
Don't go there. Don't even go there. Tag-alongs, by the way. I like them.
You like them? Hold on, I'm gonna make a note here. Yeah, it's a company Christmas party. Try to get advance orders of tag-alongs, Girl Scouts for Tom.
Yeah. So you couple that with 5 beers a night, and limited to 0 physical activity because now gyms are shut down. I was living in New York still at this point, so I had a choice. I could be average and do nothing and come out of COVID fatter than I am, and probably worse, not just physical, but mental condition as well. Because your physical doings has a lot to do with where you are up here in the head in a good way or not. So one of my personal core values is I refuse to be average. So I looked at that and I'm like, well, fuck, if I keep doing this I'm just being the average version of Tom, the average version of everyone else who's quarantining at home, you know, because it's acceptable right now. Everyone can go fuck off and sit back and just go on a Zoom call and not put pants on during the day. And I'm like, all right, well, that doesn't align with my core values. And you know me, like core values are everything to me. I mean, I wrote a fucking book about it. So I'm like, all right, that can't be. So what's the alternative? And I said, okay, here's something. And I know you've been through it. You and I both completed 75 hard. And I decided to jump in and just take on 75 hard at that point in my life. And I went into it with the mindset of, I will never quit. I will never fail. I will never give up. And even if I have to cross the finish line with a nub of a leg left because I've worn off my foot from all these crazy outdoor activities and workouts that I'm doing, I'm still going to do it. And that's the mindset that I went into it. And the 75 hard journey that I went through, coupled with the G code, coupled with the network of winners that I had intentionally surrounded myself with in Break Free Academy and Apex executives, it just pushed me through and elevated me and brought me to where I am now. So I went from, when I first started working out 2 years ago, it was about 300 pounds. Okay, I'm a big dude. I'm 6'4", so I got the height, but 300 pounds to me is too heavy. So at the onset of COVID, when I decided to hit 75 hard, I was zipping right about 287 pounds, 285, something like that. I finished 75 hard at 253 pounds. Wow. So major transformation there, right? And you've seen the pictures.
Yeah.
So I just finished phase 1 of 75 hard, which was a hell of a lot harder than 75 hard, by the way. Like exponentially harder. I could not believe how much it was just harder, flat out. And I dropped another 12 pounds. So I finished up there at 244 pounds from where I started. I think I was 256 when I started, and I dropped to 244. Man, it's just like the intentionality and following that checklist and doing what you're supposed to do when the calendar tells you to do it. Front loading your day to take on, basically eat the frog, do the hard shit first. Mm-hmm. Like all of those little micro commitments have changed my life, the trajectory of my life, in such a short period of time. It's almost unfathomable. Yeah, I went into 75 hard, and I get on a call with Stuman, and it was actually a coaching call with him. He goes, I said, "Hey man, I'm taking on 75 hard," and basically it was like a 3-minute long coaching call. He's like, "Yeah, this is gonna change your fucking life," and like that was the gist of the call, and it didn't go much further than that. I was like, "All right, cool." You know, he just gave me a Stumanism, and it sat in my head and like it festered, and it was like, "Oh, okay, cool." Get off the phone and just go to work, start doing what I need to do. And 3 days into 75 hard, a 2x4 of reality literally smashed me in the front of the face. It's like, you know, dude, you're out here saying and preaching that, you know, you refuse to be average and yada, 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 yada. And I'm looking around me, I'm looking around my environment, I'm looking around my business at the time. And I'm like, I'm surrounded by fucking average. And I created all this. And it was a swift kick to the nuts, to be honest with you. So it made me say, okay, you know, you said you're going to do this. You said you're going to do this. You said you're going to do this. Like, what's up, dude? So I was like calling my own self out. And I think the biggest thing that happened out of it was 2 years prior, I had started planting seeds with my wife, because as successful individuals and entrepreneurs, that's how we make things happen. We start planting seeds months and years before, and we keep watering those seeds. It's just like follow up in sales. And all of a sudden one day you got this tree that blossoms. So I started planting seeds with my wife that, you know, I think we should get out of New York and move. And it's funny how the combination of me doing that work years past and hitting 75 hard, and she didn't do 75 hard with me, but she kind of like, she did 90% of it with me. She didn't drink. She was working out at least once a day. So a lot of the the mental increases and the good stuff, the positive stuff that came out of it, she got to see firsthand. Okay. And when you go through and you become a better person, you impact your surroundings, the people who are around you. We're both in the damn house, 75 hard, COVID. So my wife is around me nonstop, and I'm positively impacting her just by my actions that I'm taking each and every day. So we both get together and like, hey, you know, maybe this is the time to actually get out and sell the house and move. And that's exactly what we did. We put our house for sale in New York. We sold it in 48 hours to a cash buyer for $35,000 over asking price. So I was like, all right, well, if that's not a sign, I don't know what is. And from there, I was like, well, shit, we just sold the house. We got to go find one now. and that's when the work started, you know, and we knew we wanted to come here to Texas and move to the North Dallas area. And we started coming down and looking for spots. And, you know, fast forward a couple of months and here I am, like, you know, I'm doing my thing here in Texas. And by bringing myself into this area, and proximity is key, right? My intention when I moved down here was not to come on the team of Break Free Academy. Okay. Like I have my own businesses. They're still doing their thing. They're still generating income for me and my family and help me build a legacy. But that just by getting closer to, we'll call it the source of a lot of the ideas and the good things that have come into my life, it opened up more opportunities. And one of those opportunities came from Ryan and Christine at Break Free Academy. And they hit me up and like, hey man, you know, we think of you as family to begin with. You're part of the ecosystem here. You're a major component within the coaching team for Apex executives, which is one of my true passions in life. I love helping those people. Like we want you to do more with us, and we want to grow this thing. We want to make it. We want to make this company a better version of itself, and we feel that you're the right person that could help us get it from point A to point B. And I had to sit back and really think about it. You know, like I was telling you before. You know, I worked for myself for 11 damn years, dude. And before that, 3 years. I had a gap in between companies for 3 years where I worked for somebody, and prior to that was 5 years working for myself. So I've got 16 years under my belt of working for me and not really answering to anybody. So that right there was something I had to think about and say, all right, well, how's this transition going to work? And what are the pros and cons? And it wasn't something I just jumped into and was like, oh, great opportunity. Let's go and let's figure it out. No. Like I really, really thought about it and started mapping out a game plan, saying, okay, if we go down this road, this is what the game plan is going to be. But if I make this choice, this is what the game plan is going to be. So again, it's going back to the intentionality and living a proactive lifestyle versus a reactive.
Having checklists and systems and processes in place. And listen, if you haven't gotten Tom's book, you need to get it, especially if you're in that in-between stage. If you're going from, you know, sales pro to entrepreneur, or you're in the process of making that jump to being the CEO, or maybe even getting out of your company. I mean, that's one of the hardest things to do. You have to know who you're looking for to help you run your company and keep it generating income and revenue so that you can become an investor, so that you can do higher level things. And name of the book is Unfuck Your Business. And you should definitely connect with Tom too on after this session tonight. But let's get into, we kind of talked about a little bit of everything in the G code. Like you talked about, you know, your fitness, and congratulations on the wins, Tom. Like it's wonderful. I love it. And I love the fact that, you know, you used to like have discussions with people about, you know, when they lost weight. I've met people that have lost weight and they became assholes, right? They're like huge assholes, vanity, just dickless bastards running amok out there in the world because they're like, look, I'm sexy now. Yeah. But they were angry because of the times that they got picked on when they were heavier set. And, you know, but like you stayed the same and be like, yeah, man, I'm getting in shape. And what's great about our network is we're like, that's awesome. And it's the same thing for everybody. I think everybody that's come to work at Break Free Academy, I think I've probably dropped about 10 pounds and trimmed down on some inches. My skinny jeans don't fit me because follow the G code. Or we got people like you around us. We got people that are like Burton Hughes too. That's, I mean, that guy's in peak physical condition And, you know, I mean, the guy's on, you know, romance covers. So, I
Yeah,
mean,
man.
I think in our own head, if we get to a certain level, we're like, damn, this is great. I can fit my pants. I feel
Yeah.
comfortable.
Then Burton walks in the room. You're like, well, fuck, I got more work to do.
Yeah, you're like, damn it, I need to grow a longer beard because he can't have a beard right now, you know? So, but no, I love it that we have that culture. It ties into our group, the people that we're in the room with. And, you know, we were talking about this a little bit earlier, but being around people that are force of average or just average people and having those hard conversations. And what's your process for, you know, allowing people into your group? Because it's very important. You've got your family dialed in. The kids are respectful. They're quiet. They're so quiet. Your kids are so quiet. They are, at least in public. But Jen's always great. She's always supportive and just a cheerleader and just a good woman. You can tell the way just she carries herself, and she's there. Like, she's got you like 1,000,000%. You're the
Yep.
same way for her too. Like, there's no confusing that. Your group is tight knit. How do you set that standard for who gets to come in your group and who doesn't?
It's a really tough question. And to be honest with you, Danny, I don't know if I have a process for who I allow into the circle. And maybe you just hit on something that I need to work on. And I appreciate that.
Oh shit. Uh-oh.
I do, however, have a process for auditing my existing circle.
Okay.
And as a matter of fact, I wrote a blog on it. You can find it on tomaskeenan.com, and it's called 5 Steps to Eradicating Negativity.
Huh.
And it's basically the whole theory of it is audit your circle. Write down a list of everybody who's in your life. Friends, family, mom, dad, cousins, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, you know, your college roommate. I mean, fucking everybody. And I play the stoplight game with these folks, and it's red light, green light, yellow light. And we basically go off a percentage of negativity. So if this person is 50% negative or more, they get a fucking red light. If they are, you know, 70% positive or better, they get a green light, and anything in between gets a yellow light. So it's really a tough exercise to go through. I'm like just being completely transparent and open. If you choose to go through this exercise, which I do recommend everyone do, you're going to get kicked right in the dick with some of the people who show up on that list with a red light. And I've been through it personally. Some people that I care about very much, I still love them to death. They're still close people within my family, my life, everything. A lot of those people showed up as red lights. And I had to make the tough decision. And the tough decision was, I need to be proactive and intentionally limit or lessen the time that I spent with these people. And that was tough. You got 2 choices there, in my opinion. You can either be a complete asshole and just cut them off and, you know, stop answering phone calls and whatnot. And there's certain people in life that's warranted, in my opinion. But for the most part, if you still care about those people, you still love them, you need to do it in a much more gentle manner. You need to slowly let those people down. Even when it comes to friends, you know, there's certain friends that they're good people, they're caring people, but they're stuck. They're never going any further in life. And if you continue to spend all of your free time with those people, you know, you're going to become the average of the 5 people, the 10 people that you surround yourself with. I mean, that's something that we say over and over and over again. Every freaking guru on the internet and every person who's written a business related or self-development book has said the same thing. You know, it's just the truth. So intentionally start limiting your time with those people. You know, that person hits you up and says, hey, you know, we're going to the bar tonight. You know, why don't you come by and grab some beers and wings with us? And it's like, oh shit, man, I'm sorry, but I've got something on my schedule already. This goes right back to the schedule. You know, put something on your damn schedule. If you're being intentional and you have that focus because you want bigger and better things, most likely you're not going to have much white space on your calendar. And even if there is white space in the calendar, sometimes you need to, we'll call it white lie, and say, you know what, man, sorry, but I'm not available. And instead of going to spend that time and maybe drinking 3, 4, 5, or 10 beers at the bar with a guy who's never getting his ass off that bar stool, why don't you go spend it with your kids, spend it with your wife, don't you go read a book? Why don't you go and invest in one of the Break Free Academy courses and elevate your thinking and learn and start implementing that into your life to become the most elite version of yourself?
I love that, man. I love it. And that's it's a great thing. And asking that question, it's like, you know, what do you want and why? And constantly asking that. And that's and it sounds a little bit egalitarian, or, you know, not that you're an elitist or anything, but, you know, imagine the people that you already love, the people that have the green light, and asking that question, hey, does this person fit in here? Can I put this person in that room with these other people?
Yeah.
I ask that question a lot. The what do you want question will unravel people, especially when you get to the why.
Yeah.
And I've seen it with tears. I've seen, you know, the disappointment on the other side too, when you realize they don't want anything more, or their why stops. It's very surface. It's shallow. They haven't thought about it. And sometimes you do have to make those hard decisions. You do have to limit your time with them. And, you know, if they get aggressive, I mean, you know how it is. Like, you take away candy, your attention is gold. That's probably the most. I thought data was important, but no, it's your attention. Your attention and other people's intentions have to match up. And when you take away people's gold, their candy, the attention that you give them, they're going to react differently. If they love you back, they're going to understand. They'll go work on themselves. So yeah, that's some deep shit right there, man. I didn't mean for us to go there, but, you know, it's a beautiful thing about the hot 99-ish. We don't come with any pussy ass fire, right? So
no, this is real world shit, man. It's stuff that, you know, listen, I'm not one of those people to come out here and say, oh, you should do this, you should do that. And meanwhile, I've never fucking done it. It's not how I roll. Like, I'm giving people actionable stuff that I've actually implemented and use currently in my life. And, you know, it's, everyone wants that shortcut of the secret to success. And I'm like, I'm just dropping all of this shit out here. It's not that one thing that's going to make you successful. It's you doing multiple things in small micro commitments over and over and over again in a consistent and repeatable manner. Okay. Practicing the basics, becoming an expert in the basics that will get you further in life. So don't think you're going to buy the $1,000 course online and fucking magically you're going to become a millionaire. No, it doesn't work that way. Now, the content that's inside of that course is that content possibly going to make you a millionaire? Yeah, but you actually have to not just buy the course and let it sit in the fucking portal. You got to log in. You actually have to consume the content, and you've got to do the damn work.
That's it. That's it. Tom, I love it, man. I know you and I can talk all day, but you got a lot of important shit to do. You got companies to run. You got Break Free Academy as the COO. Congratulations. And actually, little known fact now, since we got the realignment and everything organized, Tom's actually my boss. So everybody's like, Danny, what do you do? I was like, I don't know, whatever the Tom Keenan tells me to do. So it's kind of a cool thing, and I love it, and I embrace it. So anytime you need anything from me, you know I'm here, man. I'm all in. And so I appreciate you sharing a lot of that tonight. So a lot of people needed to hear that. So it's a Hot 99-ish brought to you by Phone Sites. How can people connect with you, Tom?
Yeah, man, the easiest way is 2 spots. Go over to connectwiththomas.com or head over to thomaskeenan.com. There is no H in my name. My name is not Thomas.
It's not Thomas?
No.
But Lil D would disagree. Be like, no, it's Thomas. I mean, look, seriously, that's Thomas. It's Thomas, Tomas.com, TOMAS.com. So check him out at TomKeenan.com. Love it, man. Love you, dude. And
thanks, dude.
Make sure you tune in for the Hot 99-ish next week. See who our special guest is.
Yeah, man. Later.